Allegations have been made public uh, regarding a DV situation involving a content creator on YouTube. A man named Jonathan Lee Riches, who has a channel, very popular channel, more than 500,000 subscribers, called JLR Investigates. And we've seen him on the ground in a lot of places around the states over the last couple of years, including in Tucson, Arizona, with the latest situation there with Nancy Guthrie. Now, I when I learned about this from a viewer, thank you very much for sending that in to me. I know that you want to remain anonymous. I hemmed and hawed over whether we would cover this or not, because the last time I mentioned anything about Mr. Riches, I actually got pretty scary threats that were sent my way. Not from him, but from his, I guess, adherents, his followers, his subscribers, his viewers. Not all of them, again, just a couple of bad seeds. But DV is something that we take very seriously in the true crime community because it is a precursor, it is an indicator of future crimes. And so I think that it's the responsible thing to do to talk about it. So we're going to get into it. But I do want to point out, and this is very important, that these are allegations. They've not been proven. And Mr. Riches, gets his day in court. Hopefully that will happen soon. We have the documents here. We're going to get into them. Plus, we've got some stories about the Nancy Guthrie case. We got a story about our old friend. He says tongue planted firmly in cheek, Shanda Vander Ark. And we've got a little update on the Joseph Duggar situation. So stick with me. We've got a lot to go over today. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend, and welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. So glad that you're joining me. Wherever you're joining me from, please tell me in the comments your current location. Not specifically, we don't want to be doxing anyone. Just, where in the world are you? I'd like to know. And bonus points for those who can do so creatively. Mega super bonus points, I've decided, if you can do it creatively and make it so that I'm strangling her. The filing obtained by the Post alleges Riches, a convicted felon who spent 10 years in federal prison over a credit card fraud scheme, was in a relationship with Phillips beginning early 2023 that spiraled into, quote, a persistent and escalating pattern of DA, coercive control, intimidation, financial exploitation, and physical violence. If this is true, this is Gavin speaking here, not the article, but if this is true, it makes his coverage, I remember he was one of the people that was on the ground, I think, if I remember correctly, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, covering the Micah Miller death. So it makes it all the more disturbing where he's covering a crime that Ms. Phillips is alleging he is guilty of. And by the way, it looks like the Post only obtained the Arkansas stuff. I have obtained, again through Jules, the actual criminal complaint from the state of Washington. We're going to go over it, but I've posted it on Patreon. There's always a link to my Patreon down below. It's one of the benefits of being one of my patrons. I try to get you as much for supporting me as I can. So I usually put the documents there or on my website where my patrons can get them. But don't worry, if you're not a patron, again, we're going to get into this. Continuing the article, according to the handwritten affidavit, which we have, again, we have that too. The alleged December 24th assault left Phillips with, quote, extreme injuries, including broken nose and septum, significant trauma to my head and ribs, close quote, requiring emergency medical care, CT scans, and x-rays, and that she will need reconstructive surgery. Phillips claims Riches assaulted her on multiple is just over into my YouTube settings. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, it tells me. Let's just go to a... okay. It's saying that it's better now. So I hope that it is. Well, this might be yeah, it says excellent now. The connection is excellent. So maybe we've fixed it. I hope that we've fixed it. So let's go over to, and let me just check in with Autumn here real quick. All right, we'll do it like that. Okay, let's go back over to Acrobat and we will get into the actual document that I want to show you guys, okay? Now, I want you to check in with me. In fact, let's go over, let's just take a moment. I did see a super chat. Thank you very much, Jennifer. 15 years DV survivor. I will support Jamie Magnolia 100%. Takes a lot to call for help. Got you, Mags. Thank you for the sentiment and the super chat. I really appreciate that. Just checking in with where you guys are coming in from. What do we got? We got... I just want this to... We got Montana in the house. We got California in the house. I just want to make sure. Yeah, lagging for many people. Hopefully we can fix this. YouTube says it is doing better, and it might just be YouTube right now. And thanks for being patient. PA is in the house. Who else have we got here? We've got Prague is in the house. Thank you for being here. Buffering. JLR does have a record. He has a record and served time for sure. Liv Wade, I think that we may have fixed it. Man, I may have to restart here. Let me see if I can. The stream status does say poor. No, now it says excellent again. Well, I hope we may have to just do a yeah, now it's back to excellent. So I hope that it works out and we're able to get through this, because this is an important conversation. Okay, this from the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. This is from Washington State. This was filed on December 25th of 2025. The report came in at 9:18 a.m. The complainant was Jamie Phillips. The report, ASNC, assault not classified, ASNA, assault no weapon, aggravated injury, harassment, and interference with a DV report. Got the responding officers here. You can just kind of see this. Our suspect is Jonathan Lee Riches, and we'll get into the affidavit of probable cause here. Okay, so here's the narrative. The following report is a summary of an incident which occurred to my recollection. This report also serves as a summary of my involvement and understanding of said incident. Furthermore, Portions of my involvement were recorded by audio and video on my department-issued Axon body-worn camera. Please review the incident recordings for chronological order, exact statements made, and/or for further information outside of this report. I'm curious if body-worn camera footage is going to come out on this. I don't know what the state of Washington's laws are when it comes to freedom of information law or act or right to know law, whatever they call it in Washington state, sunshine law, but I will be putting in for those. On December 25th, 2025 at approximately 10:21 a.m., I, Deputy Kay Talley, was working uniformed patrol and driving a fully marked patrol vehicle for the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. I responded to the All Season River Inn located at 8751 Icicle Road in Leavenworth, Washington, for a report of an assault. The victim reporting party identified herself as Jamie T. Phillips, and then there's a redaction. I think that's probably date of birth right there. I did not react to this part. There are portions of this that I redacted. We don't need to give away Mr. Rich's address, the last four of his social, his date of birth, his telephone number. I've redacted those things. But there are some things that were redacted by the police. Jamie told dispatch she received an injury to her nose from a fight last night with her boyfriend, Jonathan Riches. I'm sure that's the date of birth. Rivercom was also informed Jonathan had taken Jamie's phone and left last night. The taking of a phone is a classic coercive control move. It's and again, these are allegations, right? But this is a classic move for somebody who, is coercively controlling. Deputy Talley continues, I arrived at the location at the same time as aid. So, yeah, an ambulance, probably, maybe paramedics or something. We contacted Jamie in the main entrance door. I could visibly see bruising around Jamie's right eye, consistent with being in the early stages of a black eye. I could also see a small red mark on the upper right corner of the bridge of Jamie's nose. Her nose was visibly not straight and resembled what I have observed through training and experience to be broken. Jamie requested we all speak in the room where her belongings were, which is in the Shenandoah room at this location upstairs. Hey, let me just pause here for a second. Again, with the caveat that these are allegations that Jamie has made to police, that police are making against Mr. Riches. But good on Jamie for making the call. Assuming all of this is true, right? Assuming it's true, that is a very, very difficult thing to do. And though it matters little coming from just another little YouTuber in my home office in Western Pennsylvania, I'm proud of her. That's tough to make that call. Okay, continuing the narrative. Jamie advised sometime between 2300 hours, so 11 p.m. and midnight, last night, December 24th of 2025, she had confronted Jonathan about things she observed on his work phone. Jamie stated it was things such as communication with other women and what she described to be porn. Jamie stated when she addressed this with Jonathan, he became enraged and struck her with a closed fist multiple times on the side of her head, her nose, and her ribs. Jamie stated she grabbed her phone and began to dial 911 for help, but Jonathan saw her doing this, took her phone from her, and said, I will effing kill you. You know, when somebody threatens your life, I've said this over and over and over again, as Jamie alleges in this narrative, as written by Deputy Talley. Believe them. Believe them. It is I mean, the likelihood that something is going to happen increases manyfold. I don't know how manyfold. I don't have the statistics off the top of my head, but it's statistically significant. Okay? So, if you are in a position right now like the one that Jamie Phillips is describing in this narrative, number one, you're not alone. This happens to so many people, mostly women. Number two, there is help. There is help near you. And if they have told you that they will kill you, believe them and summon up just all the courage that you can, knowing I just know how difficult it is. But summon it all up. Summon it all up. In every county in the states, there is help for DV. Okay? And we, as your fellow country people and citizens and taxpayers, want you to get that help. Okay. I asked Jamie, continues Deputy Talley, if she believed this threat to be true. She stated she believed he would kill her. Jamie stated she believes at some point she lost consciousness after the assault, but remembered Jonathan grabbing 2 bags, his personal cell phone, Jamie's cell phone, and then leaving. I asked Jamie what phone she currently had, and she stated it was Jonathan's work phone that he left behind. Jamie stated she did not know where he went, but believed he may have taken the white Jeep Compass they rented. Let me pause here for just a second. This is where I'm coming back. I've noticed in the clips that I've watched of JLR Investigates, he will hold up a phone and it looks like he's using a phone to film that, right? He'll have basically has 2 phones. And I know this is just me. This is just me, right? What bona fides do I have? But it just seems like a shady thing to have multiple phones. It just does. It reminds me of like Better Call Saul or something. It's just weird. Every time I've seen that, but I've said to myself, you know what? He's doing that. He has 2 of them for the purpose of, holding up the little graphic. So it's his shtick. It's kind of his trademark. But still, I don't know. It still kind of weirded me out. All right. Whatever. Deputy Talley continues, I observed a white Jeep Compass to be parked outside prior to making contact with Jamie. I asked Jamie if she would be willing to have her injuries photographed for documentation. Jamie agreed. Jamie. The paternal pride, and we're probably close to the same age, but I don't know. I just look at these things paternalistically. I think of my daughters. That is a hard thing to do, and she agreed. Awesome. Due to most of the medics on scene and myself to be male, and one of the areas of injury requiring Jamie to lift her shirt, I asked a female medic if she would be willing to take photos of Jamie's injuries with my department-issued cell phone in the bathroom of the hotel room, to which she agreed and completed. These photos will be uploaded for evidence. Upon completion of documenting the injuries, Jamie was transported to the Cascade Medical Center for evaluation. Great. Get that on record. I requested Rivercom, and I believe that's the communications, the 911 center, the dispatch center, to put an on the lookout for Jonathan. I responded to the Cascade Medical Center, continues Deputy Talley, and met with Jamie in emergency room number 3. I asked Jamie if she would be willing to complete a medical release form for documentation of injuries received from the assault. Jamie agreed, and a medical release form was completed, signed, and provided to the medical facility staff. Excellent. Honestly, every action that she has taken. Attempting to call 911, calling 911, getting police out there, getting medics out there, telling her story, getting photographic evidence, going to the hospital, signing the medical release form. Each one of those steps is like climbing Everest for a victim of DV. It is so, so important. And I just feel so proud, man. Again, with the caveat that these are allegations, right? Okay, Jamie stated Jonathan had been texting the work phone knowing he left it behind. He told Jamie he was, quote, 100 miles away from her, close quote, and, quote, in the middle of nowhere, close quote. Jamie could not confirm the Jeep Compass still parked at the hotel was their rental, but due to it being the only one there and all the other guests' vehicles accounted for, this was most likely the vehicle. Jamie believed Jonathan to be most likely still in the area, and their flight leaves tomorrow. Again, this was written on December 25th of 2025, so the flight would have been scheduled for the 26th, which would require them to travel back to Seattle and return the vehicle to SeaTac where it was rented. I was also advised by Jamie that in August of this year, she was on a work trip with Jonathan in Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm guessing. This was when she first found out about his infidelity and porn issues. This would be her describing it, right? This isn't the deputy saying he has them. He's saying she said that. She stated she confronted him and he attacked her in the hotel they were staying at. Jamie stated it was similar to this. He assaulted her violently and then took their rental car and drove back to Florida where they live. Jamie stated there is a long history of Jonathan assaulting her in their almost 3-year dating relationship. Yeah, a lot of us would ask the question, why would you last 3 years? Guys, that's the wrong question. Okay, that's the wrong, it's so difficult a thing to escape DV. It's just so hard. For so many reasons, for physical safety reasons, for emotional reasons, for mental reasons, it's tough. She stated she knows she would have left many times before this, but hasn't, or she should have left many times before this, but hasn't. Jamie stated Jonathan needs to be held accountable for what he did. After Jamie was discharged from Cascade Medical Center, I was provided a copy of the medical documents for this visit, and I provided Jamie with a courtesy ride back to her hotel. Good job, Deputy. Deputy McComas and I searched the room prior to Jamie going back into it. Good job, deputies. Thank you for taking this seriously. The on-site manager was contacted, who changed the security code combinations for the front door and for the room Jamie is staying in, so that I would assumedly that Mr. Riches would not be able to get back into her room, so that into their room, so that she could feel safe in the room. It should be noted that the white Jeep Compass bearing Washington registration Charlie Tango Alpha 6791 that was observed earlier was confirmed to be another guest's rental vehicle and was not involved. Okay, so he may have taken their rental car. I have probable cause to arrest Jonathan L. Riches. I'm sure that says date of birth. I didn't do that redaction. For violating this law, assault in the second degree, DV, harassment, threats to kill DV, and interfering with the reporting of DV. On December 26th, I received a text message from Jamie on my department-issued cell phone that she canceled her original flight and booked a flight with a different airline and boarded without issue. The following day, December 27th, I received a text message from Jamie on my department-issued cell phone that she was finally able to track Jonathan's location. He was traveling through North Dakota. It is not known at this time if he was driving back to Florida or to a different location. And then that was given to the Chelan County Prosecutor's Office. No, Mr. Riches was not arrested, at least according to this document, because he was nowhere to be found in Washington. But I think it's very important that he wrote that he has probable cause to arrest Mr. Riches. That if he would have been there, I think he would have been arrested. Now, in my description, before we started the show, in the description of the YouTube video down below, I put that he fled the scene. I think that was probably over editorializing. So I've changed it to he left the scene. I don't know that he fled. I know that he left. I don't know if he knew that there was going to be some law enforcement activity here. I mean, according to Jamie, this is not the first time that he's done it multiple times. Maybe he thought that he would normally get away with it, or maybe he's just like, you know what, screw her. I'm just going to, she can figure her own way home. I don't know. I try not to speculate, but this one's not leaving us with much. The rest of the document, which is another few pages, are yes or no questions. Did the victim indicate possession of other firearms? No, right? Just a whole bunch. Was the DV arrest an assault or an order violation? It was an assault. Was criminal history checked for prior DV convictions? Yes. Was a copy of protection order attached to report? No. Was a medical information release signed by the victim? Yes. The offender / suspect is Jonathan Lee Riches. He's not a resident of Chelan County. The victim was Jamie Phillips and so forth, right? So no drug violations there, but the criminal charges are assault in the second degree DV, harassment, threats to kill DV, interfering with the reporting of DV. He was not booked on any of those. He was gone. Anything else? I guess not. That, and then, yeah, this whole page was redacted, and that was redacted. Oh, dang it. Not even showing it to you guys. Anyway, so redacted pages. Okay, so let's go over to, let me see. Okay, we're good now, Autumn. Okay, good. I'm glad. Let me go over to your comments. Let's bring up Mr. Riches and we will get rid of that. Let me see what comments you guys are making. I think I did see a super chat. Thank you very much for that super chat that says, wow, this is horrible. JLR needs to be arrested. I think that the charges will stick. And as you'll see as we go through this, there are other states as well. Now, he is a person that apparently, at least to my opinion, from reading the documents and from seeing clips from his channel, he travels places, right, as part of his investigations. And I almost did air quotes. No, I don't have any problem with what he does on YouTube. I think that he's overbearing. I think that he harasses people, or at least borderline harasses people, and I don't think that he should be doing that. But he's investigating and he's bringing content to YouTube. So air quotes are not appropriate there. But I do think they kind of lived on the road. They were always going somewhere. And so I'm curious how many other places this might be happening. We know at least Washington State and Arkansas. We read in that document North Carolina. So, I mean, I don't know. Could this be federal? I don't know. Hey, thanks, D. I hemmed and hawed over whether or not I should cover it. But DV is just so, we have to cover it. It is an indicator that increases. It's an indicator, especially when there's strangulation involved. I mean, crying out loud. That there will be greater violence later. And so we gotta cover it. But we have to be fair, and we have to acknowledge that these are allegations, and we have to temper our speculation with humanity and with compassion, right? As the children of the surviving non-allegedly murderous children of Robin Michelle Reiner have said, right? That I've taken that to heart. Let's Kiss and Make Up says, yes, please don't blame the victim. It's an extremely difficult thing to do. Oh my goodness. Yes. So hard. It is climbing Everest. Like I said, every single step that she took there was the equivalent of me climbing Everest, man. It's tough. Jamie is his girlfriend. She was known as Magnolia on his channel, apparently. That's what I'm getting out of the comments. Let's see. Paulie says Gavin knows how to be careful how he presents this. Yeah, we don't want to be putting out there that he's guilty of anything that hasn't been proven, right? These are allegations. They're serious allegations. I usually put in qualifiers like the police say this, but I also, I believe the police on this. I believe that these documents are accurate. Having said that, also, I should also go on record as saying, not for any criminal activity, but I have been accused by people in my professional life prior to coming on YouTube of defrauding them out of money, and it was so not true. And yet, their arguments, the stuff that they would post online and continue to post online, is so patently false. But the allegations, well, I would call them accusations, because nobody filed a police report, nobody filed a lawsuit because it didn't happen. But I know what it feels like to be accused of something serious, and we just need to. I just want to be on record as saying these are allegations, right? Very, very important. Okay, let's see if there are other. Let's see. Real Happy says, we clearly have a ton of work to do in this country on educating people about DV. This chat is a clear indicator. Hey guys, we want to keep the chat classy. All right. We don't want to victim blame. We don't want to assume that the suspect in this is also guilty without having had it been proven, right? We gotta be reporters about this, straight down the middle, as best we can. Now, I just said that I believe the allegations. I do believe them, but we gotta be classy. Let's keep it classy, all right? Let's see if I think I'm all caught up on your comments to me. Now, let's head back over here to Acrobat. And let me bring up a couple of other things. These are out of Arkansas, okay? The date on this one is January 20th of this year, so a few weeks past when the issue happened in Washington State. This is a petition for an order of protection. This is one where I have, like, for example, I redacted Mr. Rich's home address. Mr. Rich's home address. We don't need to do that, right? We don't need to dox him or anything like that. But this is a handwritten, and I believe this is the one that the New York Post was talking about. And there are a couple of extra pieces of information in here. All right, so the petitioner is at least 18 years old. They formerly resided together. They formerly were in a dating relationship. The respondent has committed DV against the petitioner by the acts described in the attached affidavit. The petitioner requests that the court issue an ex parte order of protection with the following provisions: excluding the respondent from a shared residence or from the residence of the petitioner or victim. Address of residence, omit if address is to be excluded. Okay, so it's excluded from, yeah, that's fine. We don't need to know the address there. Prohibiting the respondent directly or through an agent from contacting the petitioner or victim except under the following conditions: only to respond to legal documents such as separation and restitution agreement via counsel. Okay. All right, so let's get into the affidavit, okay? And I'm just going to get to her. This is the affidavit accompanying petition for domestic order of protection by Jamie Phillips. I'm going to skip the legalese and get into her handwritten narrative, okay? Beginning January 2023 and continuing through December 25th, 2025, I was involved in an intimate domestic relationship with the respondent, Jonathan Lee Riches. During the course of this relationship, the respondent engaged in a persistent and escalating pattern of, I'm going to say DV because of YouTubeese, okay? You can read it. Coercive control, intimidation, financial exploitation, and physical violence toward me. Again, all of these things are on Micah's list. If you guys don't remember Micah's list, look up the death of Micah Frances Miller. We like to call her Micah Frances because we don't want to attach Miller to her name, and she was going by Micah Frances at the time, though legally she was Micah Miller. It's on my channel. It's on JLR's channel, ironically. But each one of these things, the DV, the coercive control, the intimidation, the financial exploitation and control, physical violence, all of that is on Micah's list. Okay, on December 25th of 2025, the very incident that we were reading from Washington State, the respondent violently assaulted me, causing extreme injuries, including broken nose and septum, significant trauma to my head and ribs requiring emergency care, CT scans, x-rays, and will require reconstructive surgery to repair broken and crushed bones in my nose. Wow. This assault is currently pending felony assault charges, threats to kill, with the chief criminal deputy prosecutor in Chelan County, Washington State, case number 25C12789, police report attached. And that's what we just read, right? She continues, throughout the relationship, the respondent physically assaulted me on numerous occasions, including strangulation approximately 24 times. I have to say, 24 times, man, Jamie is fortunate that I'm not, let's take a take two on that, shall we, Javi? I'm not minimizing the abuse. What I'm saying is that I'm glad that it didn't escalate and cause her death. Guys, it does not take much. It does not take much to cause somebody's death by strangulation. We've had Brian Bennett on here, a strangulation expert. We've had him on here multiple times. I should have him on again to talk about this. I think I will. I'm going to have him on. I'm going to invite him on anyway to talk about this. Because 24 times, man. And guys, it takes something like 7 pounds of pressure. 7 pounds of pressure to cause unconsciousness and ultimately death. I can squeeze, like a firm handshake is like 35 pounds of pressure. Okay. So I'm so glad that Jamie did not, didn't, I'm glad that Jamie is with us. That's what I'm saying. I'm just glad that Jamie is still with us. Assuming, of course, that these allegations are true. In August 2025, she continues, respondent committed a brutal assault against me involving beating me repeatedly with his closed fist. Everybody, can we just agree that we're going to use our words? Let's use our words, shall we? Respondent threatened to kill me if I reported his assaults or if I called 911. Since the December 25th, 2025 felony assault, and that's her characterization. In the police report, let's go up to it. I should look that up. I mean, those look like felonious charges for sure, but it doesn't say specifically. She is saying that they are felony. Okay. So since the December 25th, 2025 felony assault, respondent has continued to abuse me using fear, threats, intimidation, ongoing financial abuse, theft of all our joint funds in an act of retaliation. Again, got to go to Micah's list. Give me a moment here. Give me just a moment. Let me see if I can find Micah's list. Yeah, I can. Okay, let's just scroll down. Micah's list, okay? I'm just going to read these real quick. Isolating her from family and friends, depriving her of basic needs, stalking, tracking her whereabouts, monitoring her communications, taking control over aspects of her life, depriving her of support services, expressing her worthlessness, humiliated, degraded, and dehumanized her, prevented disclosure to authorities, financial abuse, threats to hurt her, her family, or himself, threats to a child, threats to reveal or publish private information, assault, the dreaded R word, which YouTube won't let me say, but it is, I think, the world's worst crime. That's just my opinion. I think it's worse than murder. Preventing her from having transportation, interfering with her work, so all of these things. Emotional abuse, ignoring requests or commands to leave, cruelty to her dog, description, all these things that JP Miller was alleged to have done. Micah's list, if we go back to this one, they all fit, right? Threats, intimidation, financial abuse, theft of the joint funds. Okay. She says respondent fled the crime scene, fled the jurisdiction, and remains a flight risk. He has continued to contact me, and I'm in fear of immediate harm and death. And that is the end of her narrative. Her affidavit lists herself as a 49-year-old female, former domestic intimate partner to Jonathan Lee Riches, also age 49, male, white. And let's see. So just there are a couple of other documents that I want to just kind of, that he was served with the ex parte order of protection. It was so ordered. Here is the actual order, right? I did redact this sort of stuff. Doesn't need to be there. I forgot an address. Sorry about that. But yes, and if we get down to the bottom, I think of this one. Oh yeah, this is what might happen if Mr. Riches violates the order. A violation of the order of protection is a Class A misdemeanor, carrying a maximum penalty of 1 year's imprisonment in the county jail or a fine up to $2,500 or both. It is unlawful for an intimate partner who's the subject of an order of protection or an individual convicted of a misdemeanor of DV to ship, transport, or possess a firearm or ammunition under the U.S. Code. Ooh, wow. Well, he's already a convicted felon, so he probably doesn't have that right anyway. A conviction of violation of an order. That does, by the way, I didn't mean to just like brush that one under the rug, because there are a lot of people that they have that right taken away, and yet they do carry. Let's see. Number 3, a conviction of violation of an order of protection under this section within 5 years of a previous conviction for violation of an order of protection is a Class D felony. I wonder if he has any orders of protection. Person who is a respondent or enjoined party is restrained from harassing, stalking, or threatening a person named in an order of protection as a family or household member, a child of the family or household member. So he's enjoined from, let's say, a person who is a respondent or an enjoined party is restrained from engaging in any other conduct that would place a person named in the order of protection as a family or household member, a child of the family, household member, child, blah, 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 in reasonable fear of bodily injury. And a person who is a respondent is prohibited from using, attempting to use, or threatening the use of physical force against the person named in the order of protection. as a family or household member, a child of the family, blah, 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 which would reasonably be expected to cause bodily injury. 7, crossing state, territorial, or tribal boundaries to violate this order may result in federal imprisonment. That's the answer to my question, according to U.S. Code 2262, 18 U.S. Code. This order of protection is enforceable in every county of this state by any court or law enforcement officer. Let's see if there's anything else. The proof. Let's see. I think there is a. Is there a proof of service? Anyway, there's the order. So ordered, right? So ordered. Let me check in before we've got a couple of other documents to go through, but I want to check in. Looks like we got a super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Who is that? Beth. Thank you so much for that super chat. I deeply, deeply appreciate that. I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything else here. Let's see. Just Ducky. Gavin, I met JLR a few times while he covered Cavalcante running loose in my backyard. He seemed nice enough. Guess you never know what goes on behind closed doors. That's true. And some people need anger management, man. Yeah. Let me just scroll on through. Guys, if you put GF in your comments, I will be able to, it highlights it on the back end for me. Okie dokie. Give me a second. Let me just look at the other documents that I have here. That's Micah's list. Okay. Oh, okay. In the same court, there was an order for a continuance. For good cause, the court finds and orders the following. The hearing on the petitioner's petition for order of protection shall be continued until the 21st day of April, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. shall be held at the Garland County District Courtroom 2. Any ex parte order or petition previously entered in this matter shall remain in full force and effect without modification pending further orders of the court. So we know, at least from this, that ex parte order of protection that she filed and was ordered will stay in effect at least through the 21st of April. Yeah, and there is service to probably to both of them, right? And yeah, so those are the documents that I have to share with you guys. I know that we've got a big crowd tonight, which means that many of you have probably not been on my channel before. Thank you and welcome. Once again, these documents that I've shown you are up on my Patreon account or my Patreon account for my patrons. Thank you to all of you who support me through Patreon, through YouTube memberships, through the super chats tonight. I deeply appreciate all of that. It does look like in the, I don't want to, let's see, this one from Sue Roundtree. Do you know when he goes to court? I think the next, well, at least in Arkansas, it's April 21st. But as far as Washington State, I don't know yet. If anybody is really good at doing sunshine law requests, right to know requests, FOIAs, FOILs, whatever the state law is, or if you just want to know how to do that, and I don't mind taking the time to train, but boy, do I need a volunteer to help me with this stuff. It would be great. Emmy says, thanks for covering this, but be careful. Thank you. Yep. I'm doing my best here. Heidi Moon, just curious. I thought Magnolia was around his age. How old is she? They're both 49 years old, according to court records. All the other stuff, I don't want to bring up any comments like the whole leopards don't change their spots stuff like that. You know, it's like it's not proven, it's alleged, but we do want Jamie to be safe. We want Mr. Riches to have his day in court. And yeah, now that's what I have so far. But stick with me because we have some headlines to go over in true crime that includes the Nancy Guthrie investigation. It includes Joseph Duggar. It includes Shanda Vander Ark. But before we get into that, let's get into 3 questions, shall we?
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Okie dokie. In this segment, it's usually a short segment, but I love this segment. I answer 3 questions that you have sent in to me to my email address, 3questions@gavinfish.com. It is spelled out, 3questions@gavinfish.com. Anything's on the table. Nothing is off the table. You can ask me anything you want, and you can ask me as many times as you want. I will answer them all truthfully and honestly. And I love the questions where they can be flipped onto you guys, and you can tell us in the chat what your answers are to these questions. And there are a couple of those in here today before we get to headlines. All right, question number 1 from Diane. What do you need people to understand about you that they don't know? Nothing. I don't need anybody to understand anything about me. If I that feels like a dodge, but I just no, I don't care. Some people love me, some people hate me. Most people don't have feelings one way or the other. I think if I were laying in a coffin right now, my body were being laid to rest, and there was a funeral, and I'm in spirit form watching the memory, the memorial of me, I would hope that people would say, Gavin was a good guy. He tried his best. He loved his wife and their children. He was loved by his wife and their children. Hopefully someday grandchildren. And that's really all I care about. But do I need anybody to understand anything about me? No. I'm just a regular guy trying to do my best. Make mistakes, try to learn from them. Thanks for the question, Diane. Question number 2. Have you heard of geoframing? It seems like an effective tool for law enforcement. Have any cases that you've investigated used this? Wouldn't this be useful in the Guthrie case? Yeah, it's typically called geofencing. I became familiar with geofencing through advertising and marketing way back in the day. It is a tool that is used by law enforcement, and it was used to great effect in a case that I covered here in Western Pennsylvania. It was the murder of Rebecca Byler, a 26-year-old pregnant Amish woman who was slashed to death by a guy named Sean Cranston, who was convicted of the crime. He thought that he was in Amish country and nobody would know where he was, but no, he was caught through geofencing. And yes, I do believe that the Guthrie case, that it would be useful for law enforcement to use that tool in the Guthrie case. And then Colleen asked, do you have a favorite type of case to cover either for newspaper or your YouTube channel? Yeah, I do. I love covering good news. I love covering good news. Unfortunately, here on YouTube, it's just a lot of bad news. I love covering good news, and I'll tell you a couple of the stories that I've covered in my area. Earlier this week, I went out to an event for middle school aged kids who were going to compete in a hydraulics competition where they build hydraulically powered machines to pick up a dowel and put it on a game board, right? So they had to be able to do rotational force, they had to be able to do clamping force, they had to be able to do lifting force. And it was so cool. These kids, what are middle school age kids, 12, 13 years old, learning about these very complex engineering challenges through very simple machines that they got to design and build. I love that stuff. I have covered, what are other things that I've covered? I love little community events. I love it when somebody from a small place has done something big, even if it's only for a couple of people. I love that stuff. Yeah. The stuff that I don't like to cover, but I feel sometimes you just have to do what's necessary. Somebody has to do it, right? I honestly don't really like sitting in courtrooms all day long with pad and pen, jotting down every little thing. Because here in Pennsylvania, you can't record anything. So it's all recording by handwriting. You can't even bring in a laptop, for crying out loud. So I don't like that. My butt hurts at the end of the day. And then I've spent an entire day in court in old seats, in usually a room that's too cold or too hot, listening to the world's worst crimes. And then I have, 2 or 3 hours that I need to write it up. I don't like that. I do it because it needs to be done. It's important to journal. But those are your 3 questions, guys. Now, and thank you for those questions. Remember that you can send questions into me at 3questions@gavinfish.com, spelled out. And I'm looking forward to seeing what your answers to these questions are. But before we do, while you're getting your thumbs all warmed up to type those in with your little devices, let's check out some other headlines here in True Crime.
True crime headlines.
Okie dokie. Number 1. Let me zoom up on it real quick so you guys will be able to see it better. This written by Brian Enton. This came out yesterday. I did not see it until today. Investigators looking at security door. Okay, Brian, you got a typo there, buddy. It happens to the best of us. It's not investigadores. That actually sounds rather Portuguese to me. Investigador. No, but investigators looking at security door. By Brian Enton, N News Nation, Dateline Tucson. Investigators in the Nancy Guthrie case say they're looking closely at the security gate on her front door, believing it may provide clues into whether more than one person was involved in her disappearance. Of course, goodness, they're looking at it now. Hopefully they were looking. I just really hope they've already taken DNA and fingerprints and other forensic stuff there, because everybody and their dog, including the Amazon delivery guy, has been on that doorstep. But anyway, the security gate in front of the door would be nearly impossible to break through from the outside, leading some law enforcement experts to believe a second suspect was already in the house when Guthrie, when the masked individual was seen in the now infamous surveillance video. The new theory comes as the FBI returns to the neighborhood with new questions for the residents there. Brian Enton reports residents told him FBI agents were back in the area and asked them about some former neighbors who moved out shortly before Guthrie's disappearance. They also asked about some homes under construction in the neighborhood. Enton reported a resident in the area said a friend of hers who has a house under construction was asked by agents to give them the names of the contractors and construction workers who have been working on her home. Wow. Former FBI agent Steve Morse said this shows that agents are retracing their steps in the neighborhood and that it is not a sign that they are going backwards in the investigation, but they are moving ahead. Morse said that investigators asking for the names of construction workers at the house stands out. Great reporting, Brian Enton. Also in News Nation, let's zoom this on up. We're going to keep an eye on this one because we brought this up in headlines yesterday about Joseph Duggar. Written by Teddy Grant, News Nation. Jill Duggar Dillard slams brother Joseph Duggar over CSAM charges. Well, it's not CSAM. We'll call it CA charges, okay, to be YouTube friendly. Jill Duggar Dillard's family has responded to the news following her brother's arrest on charges related to alleged CA. The Dillard family wrote in their family blog Thursday about Joseph Duggar's arrest, quote, "We were shocked yesterday evening to learn of Jill's brother, Joseph Duggar's arrest." Duggar, 31, was arrested Wednesday after he was accused of CAing a 9-year-old girl during a family vacation in Panama City Beach, Florida in 2020. The 19 Kids and Counting star was charged with lewd and lascivious conduct with a minor, and I'm not going to use this word because of YouTube. For those of you listening on the podcast, you're just going to have to guess. And the blank of a victim less than 12 years old, according to News Nation's Panama City affiliate, WMBB. Quote, we first learned of anything related to his charges yesterday via a text from a friend who messaged us about the recent media reports of Joseph's arrest and his alleged confession to, and there's that M word again, a juvenile female in 2020. We are shocked and heartbroken, the Dillard family wrote. They added, quote, we strongly condemn abuse. We support the rule of law and hope the justice will be achieved. Our hearts go out to the innocent juvenile victim of this unspeakable crime and her family. Then it goes into Josh Duggar's criminal past as well. So that's where we are on that case. And then lastly, do you guys remember Shonda Vander Ark? Oh, this case was just, crimes against children, guys. Crimes against children, especially those with special needs, just absolutely kills me. Written by Lauren Silver, great author over there at courttv.com. I didn't fake anything. Shonda Vander Ark fights for new trial. Dateline, Muskegon, Michigan. Convicted killer Shonda Vander Ark returned to the witness stand on Friday, where she continued to blame her dead son for his own death as she pushes for a new trial. Vander Ark was convicted of murder in the death of her son, 15-year-old Timothy Ferguson, who had special needs. Ferguson weighed only 69 pounds when he died. His death certificate listed dehydration among his causes of death. Evidence shown during her trial showed that the child was handcuffed, forced to sleep in a closet, left in ice baths for hours at a time, and was starved. Oh! We're going to need some transition music after this one, guys. I'm boiling mad just being reminded of this case. Following her conviction, Vander Ark appealed, claiming ineffective assistance of counsel. Classic. At a hearing in November on the motion, Vander Ark was unable to testify after claiming she felt, quote, like garbage, close quote, and requested an adjournment. 4 months later, the hearing continued in Judge Matthew Kasel's Muskegon County courtroom. From the witness stand on Friday, Vander Ark continued to blame the victim's own behavior for his eventual death, saying that he chose to isolate himself and, quote, he did not care to tell the truth, hardly at all, close quote. She conceded that in May 2022, Ferguson had been 104 pounds, but could not say why he lost so much weight before his death 2 months later. And then it just blah, 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 blah. I'm not blah-blahing Lauren Silver. I'm blah-blahing Vander Ark. Judge Kasel said he would take the matter under advisement and issue a written ruling on the motion. Those guys are your headlines.
True crime headlines.
Hey, Wanda, I need just a little transition music here. We need to cleanse the palate. I need something that is the equivalent of like a saltine cracker to cleanse the palate. Do you have anything, maybe something islandy that you could play, Wanda? What do you think? I didn't even see the steel drums in there, Wanda. Whew. Let Gavin just renew. I need to emotionally renew after that last one. Whew, that was tough. Wanda, you keep it going. We're going to check in on people's comments. Lynn Taylor says, this reminds me of the Kimberly Sullivan case currently. Yeah, that's good, Wanda. Thank you. Okay, we're able to move on. Yeah, the Kimberly Sullivan case. My goodness. That kid. Grown man. But that kid in the Sullivan case that had been kept prisoner all those years, again, hero. He lit a fire. He literally lit his house on fire because he believed that firefighters would come and rescue him. And it's simultaneously heartbreaking and inspiring. Hope says she kept talking about how she was miserable, isolated, and not able to eat. She had no self-awareness. She was the worst. Let's see. As of this morning, JLR was live streaming from the Nancy Guthrie house or nearby. I did see that he was live streaming earlier today. Yes, indeed. And then Polly says, just the messenger here. Please don't aim fire at him. Yeah, I try not to aim fire at anyone. K Bling says, Gavin, that hair is 70s Beach Boys. Oh my, it's a little much, is it not? I went out for a walk in the rain under an umbrella and got back right before it was time to go live. It is, I think the humidity in the air made it go, but I am not a person who is accustomed to long hairs. I'm just going with it, man. I'm just going with it. And Chaos Mama says that JLR was streaming when this live stream started. Yeah, the dude streams like the wind, man. The guy is always on. I have to say, I'm impressed. I think I would probably be as successful as him too if I did it as much as he did. He is amazing at live streaming. Now, focus. There we go. Come on, focus. My camera's doing. What is the devil? What is the deal with my technology today? There we are. Okay. But if her allegations are true, then yeah, I probably should not be laying praise on the guy. We're going to wait, though. We're going to wait. We're going to withhold our judgment and just report on the story as it continues to come out. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I know a lot of you, this is your first time. You can find me not only on YouTube, but on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram. You can find me everywhere. My website, gavinfish.com. Those of you on the Rewatch crew, if you are a Spotify member, it helps the channel out a lot to follow me over there on Spotify. I deeply appreciate those who do. Remember that you can always reach out to me on my website, gavinfish.com. There's always a link down in the description below. It looks like this. This is my support me page. Thank you to all of you who are my patrons, who are my YouTube members, thank you for the super chats, and thanks for the tips that I occasionally get and the PayPals that I occasionally get. You guys are the best. Don't forget, you can subscribe to my newsletter, and please buy Autumn, my lead moderator, a coffee. There's a button to do that on my website as well. And then this little fishy icon on my website, that little button will take you over to the fish tank where we hang out on Facebook. You are always cordially invited to join us there. Just a couple last comments before we go. Sherry says JLR is streaming from his house in Florida. Quantum says, does his girlfriend live with him? I think according to the documents, they did cohabitate, but they are prohibited from doing that now with the ex parte protection order. And Sensei Wackadoodle, man, it sure is good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Kudos for growing your hair to donate it. Yeah, that is the point. And thank you. Thank you for those kudos. I like an attaboy every once in a while, and I do love those super chats. Thank you so much. Guys, I do this Monday through Friday, so I will be back on Monday with another true crime conversation right here on this channel at this time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, take care of yourselves. I bid you adieu, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.